Hey, Mark, how are you?
Good. I'm doing good, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing great too. I gotta ask people, what do you think? Would Canadians use pine tar on their pickleball paddles?
I don't know. Maybe we should. You can win a few tournaments with it.
Hey, if it helps, why not, right?
Exactly. Why not?
Anyway, well, let's get this show on the road. Welcome. Let's talk some Canadian pickleball.
Sounds good.
If it's pickleball in Canada, you found the podcast with Canadian pickleball players, pros, and addicts. Welcome to Pickleball Today, the podcast version of Pickleball Today.
Okay, welcome to everyone. Patrick Daddy, Pickleball Today, and Pickleball Today, the pod. We are one of the leading Canadian pickleball podcasts, and we're all over the place as far as where we're seen, iTunes or Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, whatever. But we only talk Canadian pickleball, and I just want to do a little bit of a quick update on what we do before we get started. And I want to introduce Mark, our co-host. But let's talk about what we do here first. Being this is only on my third episode or our third episode, basically our job is to talk about pickleball topics specific to Canadian players. So we do things like talk about clubs around the country, tournaments around the country, tips, and I have Mark here to give tips, not me as much. Different players, hot topics, gear, travel, all that type of thing. So I'm pretty excited about it. We only have done 2 episodes. Last week was our first official. And I want to thank everybody who tuned in last week. We were surprised. I mean, we almost got 1,000 people have seen that podcast. That's kind of a nice start to a podcast, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, quickly, a little bit about me, only because if you haven't seen it before, and I'll be very brief, I'm a level 1 instructor. I was a club founder. I started Cambridge Pickleball Club here in Cambridge, Ontario. I'm the publisher of Pickleball Today, the news site, and host of our podcast here. And I'm a former Fortune 1000 software industry. I use the term pioneer literally because I was in one of the first software companies on the planet. So
Wow. You've been around, Pat. You've been around.
I've been around. And honestly, 1969 was the first year that there were software companies. I started in 1972. At that point, there were about 4 of them. And so
I wasn't even born yet.
So I have been around. I've only been around pickleball for a little over a year. The reason I got into it is my wife has Alzheimer's. When she ended up being fully hospitalized, I had to do something to fill my days and keep from kind of being depressed about the whole situation. I got beyond the point that I could do anything. So I started playing pickleball. I got addicted on day 2. I started a club after month 3, and I started Pickleball Today after month 3. So I got hooked, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, it seemed like that's a trend for most people. As soon as they pick up that paddle, it's just full steam ahead. Full steam ahead.
The number of people that, when I, as an instructor, and the only reason I became an instructor was I started a club. I am not going to be a long-term pickleball instructor, but I started a club here, and we needed one. We needed one to be certified and insured, and because a lot of players, we have renewed players, so somebody had to do it. So I said, well, give it a go, and it was hard.
Yes.
Because I only played about 3 months at that point. Yeah. So I went through some, the training that, Mark's gone through, and Mark's gone through that more significant levels than that. But it was tough, and that's why I did it. But hey, Mark, let me introduce Mark Bittorf to everybody. Just briefly, Mark, and then I'm going to let you fill in the blanks. First of all, Mark is one of the pros at the club, one of the clubs I play at. Again, I said I started Cambridge Pickleball, but I like to, that's a non-profit club, rent facilities, play in the evening. I like to play during the day because I have options to do it. Mark is one of the pros at the club court where I play at. Mark's also a university grad from Brock University in business and an entrepreneur, and a level 2 coach, is it, Mark?
Yes, correct. Level 2.
Yeah. But why don't you fill in the blanks here? You know what I also got to say? Mark is like one of the friendliest and smiliest guys I've ever met. I mean, I love it. It just makes it pleasant.
Yeah.
And pleasant in lessons, especially. And I really appreciate that.
Yes, that's essentially where Pat and I met, was at the club that I work at. And we just played open play, social play is how we first met. Even though I'm a pro, I still jump in and play with all the different levels. And that's how you meet great people, essentially. It's kind of like giving back to how when I first started, I didn't know anything. I just showed up at the local public courts, started playing, and I've made so many friends. And
When did you start playing?
I started playing back in 2020, right before the pandemic, actually. I was on a trip down to Florida and was there with my dad, and we were going to go play tennis. And then people were playing pickleball on the tennis courts, and they just said, "Hey, we have paddles. Do you want to play?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll try it." Oh, I'm always willing to try anything. And after that, once I got back, I ended up buying my first paddle, right away. And then just started playing pretty much every day I could.
You played other sports too in your past, didn't you?
Yes. So big hockey guy, being Canadian, most people play hockey, growing up. So obviously big hockey guy. I played pretty high level volleyball as well. So I have done some coaching in volleyball, and as well as golf. I enjoy playing golf and tennis. Were kind of my main sports that I focused on growing up. And unfortunately, since I've started playing pickleball, I don't play many of those other sports anymore.
It's kind of funny coincidence, by the way. Those 4 sports are the 4 that I've played the most of as well, but I would add in baseball. I did play a lot of baseball and enjoyed baseball a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, as a kid, we played softball just, for fun.
Yeah.
But then I played regular hardball in Waterloo and enjoyed it. But I even me, 5'9", played varsity high school volleyball.
Oh, nice.
Nice. I didn't spike it, but I
were you the setter? Were you the ones? Yeah.
I was a setter and a server. For some reason, I had a great overhand serve.
Oh, nice.
And a setter and digger and whatever. It was just fun. I truly enjoyed high school volleyball.
Yes.
I never played I did play basketball like intramural, but I never played for the school. But I love volleyball, and it was great. We had a good team, and by the way, we even played I went to Cameron Heights Collegiate in Kitchener. I mean, that's the school with Lennox Lewis and Bernie Bruoff was the team. When I played there, he ended up in the CFL of the football team. And I'm fortunate. I did not play football. I still have my knees, and I still have my mobility, thankfully.
Yeah.
So,
see, I didn't play football in high school either. It was literally hockey and volleyball were the 2 main sports. So a lot of players that played hockey also played on the volleyball team. They just coexisted very well. The football schedule does not coexist very well with that. So
yeah. There you go. I enjoyed it. I mean, when I do see big guys with knee braces on playing pickleball right now, I pretty much guess they probably played some football along the way.
That's a good way to spot an ex-football player, is the knee braces.
So let's talk about all the things we're going to get into today. I should have done that a little earlier, but we're going to first topic will be a little bit of a intro or a background on the CNPL. I was there this weekend.
Yes.
I live streamed it on our website, and we have 36 hours of live stream pickleball on the website. We'll go over to that. Mark's going to be doing some special pointers that are of interest to regular Joes like me. Tips on, kind of going from a 3.0 player to 3.5, if that's what you're interested in. If time permits, we're going to do a few unwritten rules about playing on public courts. I know I played on public courts this winter down in Florida, and I've seen, I saw different things. We will talk about some of the EULA paddles and paddle testing, the pine tar incident that we spoke about earlier, and a little bit of paddle news. So let's get into it. The first thing I have to do is I have to pick up a website to get the standings that I wanted to refer to. 1 second.
Oh, perfect. Is this the CNPL standings that you're talking
Yeah,
about? Yeah.
yeah,
I know you were there in person.
I
I wasn't
was.
able to make it this time in person. I have been to others in the past, last season in person. But I did watch a little bit of the live stream when I could.
Yeah.
And it's definitely got more intense, you know.
Oh man.
The
Yeah.
level of play is definitely improved, just from one year to the next. So it's great to see that, I would say.
I was there last year at all the tournaments. This year I'm going to be at the Eastern ones. I don't know about the Western ones. There's two. The one here this weekend was Mississauga. The next one is July in Guelph. Following that, I don't have the date sitting right in front of me, but it's in Calgary, and then the finals. And I believe the finals are in the West too, but I'm not 100% certain about that. So it'll go through the summer and I believe into the early fall. But yeah, the quality of play was really high. I mean, really high. And there's a lot going on. There were 3 active courts. I was just taking pictures this time, a couple interviews, things like that. But there was 3 active courts going on, so it's hard to keep up with everything going on.
Yes,
And,
lots. That's good though. That is good in the sense that there's always something to watch, and you can,
oh yeah,
you know, you have some friends in certain matches that you want to be able
absolutely.
to watch and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's definitely a busy day if you do end up purchasing a ticket
Oh.
and going to it. Definitely
Yeah.
a busy day.
It was, you know, and there's kind of cheering sections. That's the fun thing about team pickleball, similar to, you know, Major League Pickleball in the U.S. There's literally cheering sections for a team. Each team is from an area or region from across Canada. Not necessarily are all the players from that region, but the teams representing that region. And in general, they're generally from that particular area. But
So
it's a bit of a mix.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you have a favorite team?
Yes.
Okay, what's your favorite team?
Am I allowed to say? I'm allowed to say.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think the Northern Rollers are, well, I probably have 2. The Northern Rollers, which is, you know, based up in Barrie, Overmorey,
Midland. That's where I'm from. Northern Rollers.
Yeah, I like them. And I, first of all, also, I became friends with some of them last year. So, in fact, Rob Kurzmanage, one of the owners of the team, gave me his jersey at the end of last year. Now, he wasn't there, at least I didn't see him this time. Let's see, Corey. Let me see if I have the players list handy.
I'll give a shout out
Corey
to
Osborne.
I'm going to give a shout out to Corey Osborne. That guy is amazing. He was actually probably one of the first people I met on the pickleball court. We both play in Midland, and he taught me, you know, so many skills. He'd be like my first coach, unofficial first coach.
I mean, I just liked the guy a lot. We spoke a lot last year. Just a generally nice guy. Also, I mean, some of the other players on that team, Matty Stolite played really well. Casey Rogers. Casey, off the top of my head, I think she's from the West, but Casey, I'm not certain. I don't have it sitting in front of me. Jessica Kawamoto. Jessica is a firecracker. I mean, Jessica is at best 5 feet tall. I'm not sure that she's really 5 feet tall, but holy gee, is she powerful.
And quick. Wow, quick.
Yeah, oh goodness, she's so powerful. And I mean, you can't go low on Jessica because Jessica's low. But boy, and just a great personality. Her brother, by the way, Matt Kawamoto, played on a different team. So the mom was leading a cheering section for both teams. She brings banners and pom-poms. But there were times when Jessica was playing Matt. So she would do a cheer for the one team, then she'd change color pom-poms and cheer for the other team.
So you gotta love that. That makes the game fun to watch, right? When you get a duel like that.
It is just a fun event. I mean, it's a little more boisterous than your typical, you know, like quote PPA tournament. And just like the way MLP can be a little more boisterous in the States than PPA. And then the players just get into it because they got on these teams this year, they have 6 players, 4 are active players, and then 2 are kind of fallbacks if somebody gets injured or somebody can't make it or something like that.
Which
Right?
I think is a change from last year.
Yeah.
By having the extra couple players there with them
Yes.
on the bench, sort of thing, so they can um,
Yes.
be more adaptable if somebody gets a little injury or not feeling well, sort of
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they had last year was kind of like a couple designated players that would go on any team
Hmm.
if need be.
Yeah.
And so this time they've got them because there are times people can't make it, or there are times people get injured,
Yep.
and they may need more than two in a
Yeah.
tournament, especially
Yeah.
with the number of games that are played.
Yeah.
So let me go back to the standings here, and again, I can't review that. So there was like 100 matches played over the 2 days on 3 courts, and I can't remember individual matches. They blend together, but I did remember certain players that really caught my eye. I'm even a little. Maybe I'm a nice guy. I hesitate to even say who they were because I probably missed some others. But the Rollers had a good weekend. They won 7 of the matches and only lost 2. So I believe they have the
Whew.
top record. Yeah.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
our team
So
right
there's
there.
games and matches. So the
Nice.
games, you have a number of games to make a match. And so they won 7 matches and lost 2 out of their 9. Now the standings here, it looks like we've got 9 for all. Yeah, we do. They've been updated even this morning. The second team, and I was impressed with them on first game I saw. It was the first game, and that's the Montreal Lions.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
Montreal
Yeah.
Lions, my goodness, there were some great players. Ernesto Fajardo, I kind of think he leads the team. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I kind of think he does. Louis Charles Aimo, Matthew Morneau, Jade Cassandra, there's Annie, Sophie Cordoa, and Antonetta Toskova. I am not certain, but based on the order they're showing, I'm kind of expecting Annie and Antonetta were the alternates.
That team's pretty young too, I believe, isn't it? Pretty young. The team age on that one's pretty young.
Yeah, I'm looking
players.
at it here.
Yeah.
25, 26, 21.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
good
so
to see.
I mean,
That's good to see.
every team's young for me, but yeah, they were. Again, the women I saw were again really powerful on that team, and I just wanted to give them a shout out. And I'm only gonna do one more. Let me find the team I am thinking about here. Now this team had a spotty record, a little bit spotty a record. Let me just double check the standings. This was the Southern Ontario Brewers. Now we're in Southern Ontario. So technically, this is my home team. They even practice out here sometimes. Southern Ontario Brewers. Mark Clemenson played very well. Kyle Hermetz played very well. Victoria DeMuzio and Mikhail Gaumont. Let's see, and Amanda Rosati. I think they were ones that played various matches. There may have been a substitute in there at some point. I gotta say, Amanda and Victoria were a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
First of all, Victoria, I believe she plays down in Florida a little bit. Her mother's a player. I saw her mother last year in Stratford, and very good player out of the area here. Victoria, holy gee, she's powerful. I could not believe the strength on this young woman. But yeah, boy, when she hits the ball, it's hit. Mikhail Goma also, when he hits the ball, it's hit. Holy gee, the ball was going fast off his paddle. And a very good player. Now again, the results weren't incredible. Let me get back to what the standings are again.
It could be a team where just maybe a little bit more practice, a little bit more chemistry, and they'll start rolling, kind of down the road a bit at the next events.
Yeah. So I mean, their matches they were 4 and 5, but the games I saw, they won a lot of the games I saw. So that's, I can't say I saw a full match of anybody. I was moving around taking pictures, but the games I saw, they just happened to be very strong. But there's just a lot of teams there. 6 times 8, 48 players. So it's a lot. I can't do a shout out to everybody, but It's a great event. What I want to do is a shout out to the organizers and the owners. I mean, it is a lot of work to put something like this on, and to do it in what will be 4 locations across the country, in a country the size of Canada, is not just work, it's expensive. And Mike McManus and team with the CNPL have done a great job. I mean, it's not without issues. I don't want to be a Pollyanna about it, but it's just a massive undertaking. I could be like a social media troll and say what's wrong and this and that and the other thing, like some guy. Look at, I'm not doing the work. They are. And it's so easy for somebody on a keyboard to criticize who hasn't done a dang thing, right?
Yeah.
The amount of work and expense and investment they put into this, as well as what the owners have put in, is incredible. And in a country like Canada, it's challenging, right? Because the travel expense is there as well.
Yes.
And it's challenging for the teams. They can't all get together as well. Frequently, a lot of times, the Western players would play together somewhere, Eastern would get together somewhere, and then maybe they got together in general here or in Guelph or wherever it would be for a day where they'd have a place to practice. Or Mississauga, I mean, sorry. And that would be the first time. The other thing about this tournament is it gives the Western players a chance to actually see the Eastern players. And many of them may have heard a name or something, but they haven't played them before. And there are a lot of new players in this league. And so many of them, they have never played before, whereas, the guys out west that have been around for a while have played each other over and over and over.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what you're saying. Like a lot of pickleball here in Canada, it's you stay within your province for tournaments. There's barely any travel outside of your province to another tournament. And if it is, it's like maybe once a year for like Canadian nationals or something. That's like the only time you see competition from the East Coast and the West Coast and the Central meet up, right? So it is kind of cool seeing all the different players come together on these teams, because there's different styles out there. The West plays different style of pickleball than the East and stuff like that. So it's cool to see them kind of all mixed together and who ends up coming out on top. So
I mean, I know like Brett Forsyth is, one of the top players in the West. Brad Chapman, Brad was rated number 1. I don't know if he is right now or not, but I mean, those guys, they probably played against each other for a number of years now, right? And but this time, all of a sudden, they're seeing, the top players here. Maybe the top that were in the league last year, they'd know, but there were so many new players. I don't have that number offhand, but I would say maybe more than a third.
Yeah, I would agree. There was definitely some new names there that I hadn't seen before, but they definitely brought the skill level, that's for sure. Which is cool to see.
If I was to add only one, and it's not a harsh criticism, but it is a suggestion, I would have an announcer announce to the crowd results, because again, it is difficult. So even if it's just after each match, here's on a microphone, so everybody can hear what the results are, what the ongoing standings are, things like that, or have a board where the standings are. Only because I left really not knowing any of that, and it's a team thing with standings, and so that is important.
Yeah,
it's a minor issue. It probably isn't a hard issue to deal with. The scores are entered by this, assistants that are keeping the track of the scores on the score sheet. Apparently, like an iPad, but apparently they have to then manually be transferred over to the website to see it. But there's, maybe there's a way that can be fixed, so the manual transmission doesn't have to be done. I don't know the reason. It might be that the referees have to sign off on it or something like that.
Yeah, you never know.
But it would be good as a, putting myself in the seat of a fan to know exactly what's going on when it's going on. Now, maybe all of that was done on the live streams. I'm not 100% sure, because again, we put them on our website, but I was there for 2 days of 11-hour days or 9-hour days. I didn't watch the live streams when I got home. I was fried.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
there. If anybody wants to
Yeah.
go, you can go see them on the CNPL site, on CBC Sports, or even just for convenience,
Mhm.
pickleballtoday.co. We have all of the streams from 2 of the 3 courts there. They just didn't record on the 3rd court. So they're all there. But just an impressive undertaking, impressive event. And the players, again, as I said, a massive investment of finances and effort on part of organizers, players, and owners. And the players, wow. And a few last year moved on into the PPA and are playing, regularly, every tournament there.
Which is cool to see that, we do have some Canadians down there elevating their game from, the CNPL to the PPA and stuff like that. So, and I'm sure we'll see more of the CNPL players take that opportunity as well.
There's definitely people here that are PPA ready. Whether that's something they want to do or not, I don't know.
True. It is quite a time commitment to take that next step, right? So
right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the CNPL. I truly enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next one. Next one is in Guelph, and you can just go to cnpl.ca and you can see more info about that.
Perfect.
Let's see, what else do we have here? I just got to check my agenda. May keep on a little bit of topic here.
I think you're gonna, we're gonna talk about that Crown Pickleball.
Yeah. I don't have them here. They're on the way. We have a new sponsor, and that being Crown Pickleball. For those of you don't know Crown, it's a U.S. company. They've been very active with a particular podcast in the United States. They've been talking about their balls for 2 years. They are a value-priced ball, but a pro-quality ball. And I've been talked with the owner a couple weeks ago, and we've been set up as an affiliate. And they're sending me a bunch of balls. But most importantly, these are a great deal for anybody who wants to buy balls in bulk for Canadians. Average pickleball price here is anywhere between $5 and $6 a ball.
I would say just at our club, we sell them for $4 a ball, the Franklin one. And when you told me about these Crown balls and the price you can get on these, good bang for your buck. Good bang for your buck.
It is. But they're what they do is they actually ship them from the States. But they, in advance, take care of the duty, the brokerage, and you just pay the HST or whatever it's called in your particular province. So, but they only, because of all that, they only do bulk order of 100 balls or more. Mm-hmm. So you can buy a bundle of 100. They have 100. They have indoor balls, outdoor balls, a wide variety of colors. Personally, I play mainly on outdoor surface now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So I'm playing indoors on an outdoor surface at our club at court. The yellow balls are good, and theirs are a very vibrant, limey, light lime green. Again, for the last couple of years, all I've been hearing about is how these are virtually indestructible balls, break balls, don't break, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're not playing in ultra heat, so that's not so much of an issue. If it's outdoors, apparently they're good for that as well, though, if they're outdoor balls. So anyway, Crown Pickleball, they've got a great deal. The deal is if you come to our website or just type in pickleballtoday.co, which is our domain, /Crown, you can see all the products that they are selling. Again, the balls are only by bulk order. They are not, they're not going to do all that duty and shipping and all that kind of thing for 3 balls. So
yeah. And one thing I'll mention, like when buying 100 balls, I'll be honest, I only buy 100 balls at a time. And you tell somebody you're placing an order at the local public clubs or at your private courts or whatever it is, that you're placing an order for 100 balls, within 30 seconds, you'll have 5 other people that want in on that order.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I haven't thought about that.
Yeah,
So,
you get 5 of you together, you each get 20 balls each.
I didn't even mention the price. The price is like $252. So basically $2.50 a ball.
Yeah.
When you're ordering these, and they are covering the shipping cost, and they are covering the duty and the brokerage.
Yeah. So that's like your total price. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
The only thing is, to keep it legal, you got to pay whatever the tax is, and that's it. But when they drop the balls at your spot, you're not going to be paying anything else. So
I actually went on and went through our link there, Pat, and even with the tax and everything, it was only like $242, even with taxes. Right? Yeah. So yeah,
242. Now that's even less than I was expecting. Maybe our discount. I'm sorry, I forgot our discount.
Yeah, your discount when you use the discount code, it dropped it more, and then you add the tax back. So it was just like, wow. That's why I was like, man, this is a good deal.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, we'll get that down a little bit better. But anyway, Crown Pickleball, they even have a paddle on, and they have a little mini net that actually looks cool. So
I saw that. Yeah,
and that's going to be in my garage and or driveway for a little dinking kind of practice.
You know what? I've seen that little mini net on a beach. People were playing at the beach pickleball, just volleying over a little mini net at the beach, playing a game. Cool. So it's you can take it anywhere sort of deal, right?
Yeah. Anyway, Crown Pickleball, check it out. pickleballtoday.co/crown. Give it a look. Anyway, that kind of thing helps keep our show going. Next, Mark, you were going to talk about, a typical guy like me who's probably playing at a 3.0 level. And, what do you think? And because I'm curious, I'm playing in a tournament coming up. I'll be playing in the 3.0 level, but I still do want to get better. Now I'm an old guy. I get better slower than a 15-year-old for sure.
Yeah.
But, what do you think the differences are? What do people have to focus on that?
Yeah. So just like yourself, we've been talking about this lately a little bit, is you got to focus on control. You got to be able to control where you're placing the ball. So it's like the saying in pickleball, I'm sure some people have heard it, placement over power is key. You got to know where you can place the ball. You got to be able to tell where you can do it. And when we talk control, we're talking like drop shots, we're talking resets, blocking, So with learning the control aspect of the game, because right now when you watch a 3.0 level game, 3.5, somewhere in there, everybody's hitting the easiest shot in the game, and that's just to whack the ball as hard as possible.
Yeah.
So
I know that feeling.
Anytime you want to get better, you got to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing and learn how to control. And that's how you get better and moving up, because you can always just whack the ball. Now, practicing, if you have a ball machine, you can always practice with a ball machine. Best is, find a partner or something. But one thing people they do forget about when practicing is everybody goes out and plays their rec games. And I tell all my players that I coach that pick one shot for that day. You got 2 hours of rec play, pick one shot, like a drop shot, and that's all you do all day. And no matter what, you don't do any, third shot drives, you drop everything, and you get live practice off live balls in game. Now, you have to be willing to lose some games. You need to just bite into it and say, I'm only going to practice this shot today. Or when I serve, I'm only going to practice serving to the backhand opponent. No matter what, I'm only going to serve. I might hit some out, I might miss. Once you practice live rec games on just one certain shot, you'd be surprised how much quicker you can get better. It's almost like taking one step back to take 2 steps forward, right? So definitely control is a focus. Now, we've been talking about these pros and how hard they can hit the ball at CNPL, and these guys are using power paddles. Pros are using power paddles, let's be honest. That they've already learned the control aspect of the game, and they can control a power paddle with a drop shot, with a reset, So I would focus, if you're looking for a paddle, go to those 16 millimeter type paddles and get something that is all control, soft base. And then as your skill level advances, then you can slowly move into your 14 millimeters, your 12 millimeter type paddles, and upgrade to more of a power paddle once you learn that control game down.
Right.
So,
right. That hits me pretty hard. First of all, I went through this with you in one of the lessons back about a month ago, and we did my overheads over and over and over. And I was terrible at overheads. And no matter what I was doing, I'm plowing right down to the net, always coming down on it. And and it just wasn't working. And we did it over and over and over, and they have been pretty good since then, I will say.
That's good. That's good to hear, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that was just me and you just drilling and just hitting as many balls as we can. We emptied the cart, full of balls.
I'm saying, get it way up. If I have to go back and get it, fine.
Yeah.
Now I'm not the greatest at lobs.
Mm-hmm.
But I should get. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard to get better at it. I just don't try quite often.
Yeah. Yep.
I basically I gotta lose some weight. That's about it.
We gotta get you doing suicides on the court.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, so it's all about that. Maybe I'll put that out to Canada. Pat will lose weight. So there we go.
Then I would say one thing I have noticed with just talking to members and people at public courts and stuff like that, most players have lost weight since starting playing pickleball. It is one of the benefits of pickleball, and that's why it has become so popular, is people do feel healthier, and it doesn't feel like a workout, but you'd be surprised how many steps you get in a day.
Yeah.
So
I actually did lose weight last year, but then when I went to Florida for winter, I think the beers were flowing a little easier at the end of the matches, and what that does to me right away. So anyway, I appreciate it, Mark, and I certainly appreciate the coaching as well. So one of the other things I want to just briefly talk about, and this is another one of our, it's not really a sponsor, but kind of an unofficial one that I swung a little bit of a deal for people on, is travel. Now, look at it. Me being a senior, Mark you do travel a fair bit now.
I do a venture down into the States to play pickleball, and I've made a lot of friends through pickleball socially. But this trip that you're talking about, I have not done, and it's very interesting.
Well, let me tell you now. First of all, I've got some notes here because there's a lot. I'm going to a little bit summarize though as well. There's a company called Pickleball Tours Canada. And I talked to the owner last week, and when I understood how they did their tours, I got pretty impressed. Now, I've thought about pickleball tours, and you see a lot of them advertised, mainly U.S. companies, things like that.
Yep.
And the one thing they tended to all have is, some pro is going to be there, and you're going to go take lessons in some exotic location. And I'll honestly say I always thought, well, why the heck do I want to go? If I'm going to some exotic location, go there to take pickleball lessons. Now, I could take my pickleball lessons here, and I can just go to my exotic location and enjoy the exotic location.
Yeah, exactly.
However, I do like the idea of playing a little bit of pickleball in some nice locations and meeting some people and having some fun, because as opposed to just doing some bus tour from one place to another place to another place to another place, and then, quickly walk around on this tour or that tour in each town, getting out and getting some real exercise of the exercise that is my favorite. Sounds like a pretty interesting idea to me. Pickleball Tours Canada, they just came back from a full tour of Spain. This would have just been a few weeks ago, but they've got one coming up this fall in mid-September, going to Ireland and Scotland. And in England a little bit. And so it's a 1 week. You're going to do a little bit of Ireland, Scotland, England, but there's going to be a little tournament you'll be in, or a few tournaments you'll be in, where you play some games. You play not just with people on the tour, but local people as well. So they've arranged it with some local clubs, and you get to not just play the same people all the time throughout your week. You're going to play some Irish, pickleball club members, some Scottish ones, some English ones, things like that. So they're traveling around a little bit, and it just sounds like a nice way to go. You get the friendliness and fun and excitement of a pickleball tournament, and again, I didn't feel like I don't want lessons when I'm traveling. My mind is on other things, but I do want to get some exercise. I do want to have some fun, and the camaraderie and fun that goes into it. And then they have like end of day party and so forth at these tournaments. It sounded like a very neat deal to me. The other one they've got going is in mid-October, and that one is starting in Madrid, Spain. All I suggest, it's that, which I have traveled a lot of Europe, but I haven't traveled in Spain. It just sounds like fun to me. And then they've got a whole list. By the way, that starts in Madrid, but they also go to Seville, Granada, Alhambra, some incredible sights to be seen there. Alhambra has a massive, I think it's a Moorish castle, palace, things like that. It just sounds like a fascinating tour. Again, that one is in October. One of the other things I liked about them is it doesn't matter where you're located. You're basically, your tour package is the tour and your hotel and some meals, but you book your flights. So if you have points or whatever it is,
Oh, so
um,
you can save some money that way then too.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
So, if you want to do a cheap charter, I would prefer not to spend my money on the flight. I
Yeah.
would spend it on a good tour and get the cheapest flight I can. I can put up with, 8 hours of a cramped airplane
Hmm.
or whatever. But if you have the money and you want to do something more, fine. But then the
Yeah.
neat thing about their tour is they'll give you the guidance of when you have to be there, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But you book your own flights with whatever method, with either card, whatever
Hmm.
points you may have. So
Yeah.
to find out more about them, you can either give them a call or just go to pickleballtours.ca. Let's see if I have their phone number here. I thought I had it handy, but I don't. 1 second. I'll just
So
type
to
it up.
me, it sounds like a great opportunity, especially if you have friends throughout the province in like Ontario, or maybe you have friends throughout Canada in different provinces that you played a little pickleball with or something. You can all
Yeah.
slide at one spot, enjoy a week together, see the sights, and then you also get to do your favorite hobby and play a little pickleball while you're there. It sounds
Yeah.
like a good mix. Like what
It,
you're
it,
telling
it
me
just
about it.
sounded, yeah, it sounds like fun to me too. Now, I don't know if I'll be going or not, but I would like to go on one next year.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's their phone number. I would recommend people take a look at their website, but then give them a call. Why? Because they're going to give you a special discount if you mention you're done pickleball today. So
Perfect.
the phone number is area code 204-955-7981. Ask for Peter, and he will take care of you. Again, that number is 204-955-7981. And the website is pickleballtours.ca. So I think that's it for our advertising for the show today. But nice that we have some. And, if anybody heads out on a tour, let us know. We would love to hear about it, or even love to hear that you booked it, just so we know.
Yeah.
Let me double check that I got the right number there. Yeah, I do. 7981.
Perfect.
204-955-7981. Now, next item, a little paddle news. How's
Perfect.
our
Yeah.
time? We've been almost an hour, not quite.
45 minutes right now, Pat.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. Little paddle news. Let me grab a paddle here. Maybe I should mention, why do I have Selkirk paddles all over my wall? You ever wonder?
I always see you with the newest Selkirk. You definitely like the
yeah.
Selkirks, that's for sure.
Here's why. First of all, when I started Cambridge Pickleball Club, we wanted, who can help us out a little bit. When I then became a level 1 instructor, Selkirk, Mark Renison, who did the training, he's sponsored by Selkirk, they set you up. And then when I set up Pickleball Today, the combination of all of these things meant I got sponsored by Selkirk. Now, the funny thing about it, though, is I can't sell a Selkirk paddle to anybody. And that's because I'm what's called an international advocate. So I get some of my gear from Selkirk, either free or cheap.
Mhm.
And what I do in return for that is when I'm doing a clinic, I am using the Selkirk products, and I tell people about it. And why I even want to do that is because Selkirk has first of all, one of the original pickleball companies, but
Yeah, no,
they've got a wide price range of paddles.
yes, they can hit all different markets of
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
looking for. Yeah, I
So
agree.
when you do a clinic, beginner clinic is all I do. I don't do the more advanced ones. We're basically giving the people intro, teaching them rules, teaching them basics, and want to do everything we can just to make sure they come back again and play a second day. And that's really what the Canada Pickleball and the tennis Tennis Coaching Association that's connected to do it, to do the training. That's what they teach you to teach in a beginner clinic.
Mhm.
So that's my job. I have an agenda, and that do it. But a lot of people have come and literally have not picked up a paddle. They've heard about it. They've been seeing it all over the place. I mean, it's in commercials for irrelevant
Yeah.
things days. It's just all over. And so a lot of people come to these and don't have a paddle. They want a loaner. I'm not going to suggest somebody go out and buy a $300, $400 paddle.
No,
Day
yeah,
one,
yeah.
right?
I agree.
Yeah. So they don't know if they're going to play next week. I'm
Yeah.
like that. I mean, you don't know, right? I know
Yeah.
I got addicted on day 2. I played with a cheap Amazon paddle for about a month.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm going to try a little bit better paddle. Went up to $100 paddle, and the difference was like night and day. And it really was. Now I know some players that play with the cheap Amazon paddle that can kill it with them. So the paddle is not going to make you, but it can make a difference, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, the nice thing about Selkirk is they go for many. You can get them either at Costco, like a bundle for like $79 or $89 for 2 paddles and some balls, up to the $350 range, if I'm not mistaken, $339 I think it is for the Lux. So Selkirk is a sponsor of mine, but I don't make any money from Selkirk whatsoever. I promote their stuff, and in return, I get some deals on it. Now, that means though I can't sell paddles on our channel or Selkirk paddles for any kind of revenue, but I will review them, and I'll give fair reviews and honest reviews, and I'll review other paddles, and I hope Selkirk's cool with that. But some other paddles do give us revenue, and we need revenue to keep this show going and the website going and the travel going that we have to do occasionally to do it all, right? So I'm hoping Selkirk's okay with that. If they're not, I'm sure I'll find out. But I'm going to show you one now that just came in the other day, and I'll explain what it's about and why. Well, let me just grab it.
Yeah, okay.
So this is the new Selkirk Pro Air, and the size is called the Invictus size. Now, on my camera, it looks blue, but this is incredible purple. I mean, it's gorgeous.
I've seen it in person just the other day. You showed me, and it is that purple pops.
Somehow that my camera's shading a little bit different, but this is got to be almost the prettiest pickleball paddle I've ever seen in this color. They have a bunch of colors. Anyway, this paddle, for those who played a while, they may have seen the white Selkirk Pro Air or the Selkirk Lux. Now the Pro Air is a very hard power paddle.
Yeah.
And the Lux is a very soft paddle. This, like, if I can literally squeeze that. So when you talk about control, this is the kind of paddle that I've been playing.
Yeah, the Lux is good
about 6 months.
It's a good, one of the best control paddles out there.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
And I like it. And I played it for about 6 months. Now, as I gradually was getting a bit more control, I could use a little extra power. And fortunately, they just came out with this, and this is in between. So you've got the real power one, Pro Air. Then now the amped Pro Air is the middle one, and then the Lux is the softest of the bunch.
Yeah.
So this is probably the paddle from Selkirk that I will play a lot more. I like it. Did have good control with it, but it does have more power, more drive, a little bit more pop than the Lux. And I don't think it's significantly less, by the way, than the Pro Air, but I was controlling the ball better than I do with the Pro Air.
Yes.
But the Pro Air, for me, when I'm hitting that ball, it's bouncing right off it.
Yeah, it's firm. The Pro Air is firm, you could say.
So anyway, I enjoyed the paddle. I've played it. I think you have given it to you to try out.
Yeah.
As well.
I think it's a good mix, like you said. It's a good mix between a control and a power. Definitely a good option for people as they improve their game to look at.
I just like, now, I do play other paddles. I'm not obligated to only play one paddle, but I am obligated when I do lessons to only show one paddle. And again, I'm hoping Selkirk is all right that we can review others, because we will. So if I can't be an ambassador because of it, I don't know that. I think we should have. I can't have a magazine, a news magazine that can only talk about one brand. So
No. And that's the idea of this podcast too, is to bring different options to players in Canada of what comes across our plate as options we see, and we can put out there as options that they want to buy. And honestly, if one person likes a paddle, that doesn't mean it's the paddle for you. You do need to try some different options, I would say, and feel what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, and talk to, if you play a club, get some advice from the pro that knows, especially if you're new, they'll know about it. They might represent different brands. Every club will have different brands, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, next thing I want to do is talk a little bit about what's going on in Canada. Coming up in a few weeks is the CPA Pro Tour. Now, the CPA Pro Tour is the first event of it. That is kind of like PPA. So whereas the CNPL is kind of like Major League Pickleball, team oriented, the CPA Pro Tour is more your typical cricket producer, doubles, singles, mixed doubles type of thing. Tour. And their very first event is at an organization called High Sports in Oshawa. High Sports is a very active club, a lot of good members. A number of the players at the CNPL play there, but also a lot of those players from the CNPL will be in the CPA Pro Tour. Mm-hmm. So that's a big event coming up. Check out, look for CPA Pro Tour, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes as well. The club I mentioned last week, any club that forwards or tags me on posts, we will share them. One that did is Saugeen Shores Pickleball Club. They were one of the clubs that was in our top 10 in Canada last year. Love it. They're up in Port Elgin, Ontario. I say up, we should, and we're talking to Canada. They're in Port Elgin, Ontario, whether it's up, down, or underneath where you are, who knows? Yeah. But anyways, they're in Port Elgin, Ontario. They have a really nice tournament coming up called the Bigger Together Charity Pickleball Tournament. Let me just get the details here. June 22nd and 23rd.
Oh,
partnering
nice.
with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Bruce Bright County as a fundraiser. There's a men's division, women's division, youth division, nice, and mixed divisions. And Taylor Pickleball Academy is involved in, I guess, running it, hosting it, or sponsoring it. I'm not quite sure from the info.
My guess is they're probably hosting it. They definitely host some tournaments around Ontario. And I've been to some of theirs, and they're well run. So,
and lastly, I just want to go to pickleball brackets, and I will pull up our other upcoming ones briefly across Canada.
Yeah, I'll give a slot to newer pickleball players. A charity event like that type of tournament is a great way to do your first tournament or your second tournament ever. They're usually a little bit lower key, more relaxed feel. And it's a great way to just get into that tournament scene if that's something you want to do with your partner.
Hey, by the way, we mentioned etiquette on, while I'm pulling this up, why don't you just talk about that, your point about etiquette on public courts?
Yeah, so a lot of times when, you go to public courts, there's usually like a paddle rack system in place or some sort of rotation. They are usually pretty busy nowadays. And one thing you got to be mindful of, every time you go on the court, I always introduce myself. First thing you do is you go up to the net and you introduce yourself to anybody that's there that you don't know. And you always got to be willing to play with people of all ages, all skill levels. That's the idea of pickleball, is to be social and include everybody. Then you sometimes get surprised by, some of the skill level that you can't judge a book by its cover. Somebody might have 2 knee braces on, but boy, can they place that ball on the sideline against you. And they got you running from side to side. So I would say at the end of a game, you always go up to the net, tap paddles, say good game. And then when you come off the court, you always throw your paddle back into the rack on a rotation type system. And, you chat up some other players. A few things with rules and stuff when you're going to, new courts or anything like that. Some etiquette is anything close to a line is always in. Don't be
Boy,
that
do
guy
I
that's
agree with
calling.
that.
Try to keep
I
the rally
really agree with
going.
that.
Try to keep the
Yeah.
rally going. You're there to have fun. You're not winning an award, So yeah, another thing too is call the score loudly.
Yes.
It's sometimes outside with wind or you're listening or not everybody has the greatest hearing, and it's definitely okay to ask your partner, hey, do you remember what the score was? We just had a 50 shot rally and I forgot what the score was.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
knows, and then just call it loudly. Those are two main things. And then the third I would say is try not to interrupt a game. Always wait for a rally to end before you cross another court or you walk behind another court. Those are just some nice etiquette things to do.
Man, you nailed some interesting ones that I've seen violations of heavily.
Yeah. So
I'll just add in. I love your idea. The when in doubt, call it in.
yes,
Right. It just drives me sometimes. Say you're in a game and it's 8-1 for one team, and I've been down 8-1. And then you hit a ball that kind of looks in for you, and then the two of them on the other side can't agree after
Oh yes,
discussing, and then all of a sudden they say it's out. And I'm thinking,
yeah,
holy geez, you guys don't even know. But
yeah,
when in doubt, you take the advantage. Come on.
yeah,
Come on.
yes. Yeah.
So that just especially, and you're up 8-1. Come on, you're supposed to, the other guys are supposed to have some fun too. No, I'm not asking
Yeah.
for mercy, but
Yeah.
when in doubt, two of you
Yeah.
can't agree,
Yeah.
then call it in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, I mean, I don't want to swear on here. I've always promised I won't, but I've often said it's not the U.S. flipping open.
Exactly. Nobody's
There's
recording your
nobody involved.
scores.
It's not the U.S. Open, and not that I've yelled that at anybody, but I've thought that, right? Anyway, I love it. I also was in a tournament that, for some reason, this was down in Florida when I was just down there, and for some reason, when people were walking off the court, here they are running and running and running and running, and then they're walking through your court, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
these people were slowing down like a turtle's pace, as they're like, it's almost like, wait for me. It's almost, it's like the grocery store parking lot, right? So like, just go brisk. You've already been running. I think you could handle another 40 feet or 20 feet or whatever. I'm not asking run, but at least walk briskly so the other guys can get back to the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, good stuff. Let me go through some tournaments and then we'll close it out here. There are a lot of tournaments coming up. A few of these registrations are already closed, but if you're in the area, you might want to go check them out. Niagara on the Lake coming up May 31st this week, and Coburg Pickleball has a tournament on June 1st and June 2nd. Let's see, I talked about the CNPL Pro Tour. That's the 5th through the 9th. So that one is a lengthy one, and they're, in different divisions. I don't know if they're doing, every different division daily or what. I'm not 100% sure that. I'll probably go to the final day or two of that. Tecumseh Pickleball Club. Again, they were one of our finalists in the Canada's Best Pickleball Club. And these are the kind of reasons, by the way, these clubs are active and doing things.
I've heard good things about that club. They have a big following, big membership there. Very positive attitude down there around pickleball, which is good to see.
Well, and this is an international tournament, so they have people coming in from Canada, from the U.S. and other countries. I do believe I saw last year it was other countries as well. This tournament has 330 players this year. That goes June 6th to 9th. Let me see here. Smith Falls, Ontario has a tournament, the 8th and 9th. Toronto, June 20th and 23rd. The Good Games, I'm going to be playing in this one. This is in Guelph, Ontario. Registrations are now open for this one still. Right now, there's 275 players. It goes July 5th to 7th. It's at the University of Guelph. The Good Games, by the way, is a multi-sport event. It's really fun, Mark. I don't know if you've been.
I have not been to it yet. No.
Yeah, it's a fun event, and I'm playing mixed doubles in that one. I didn't register in time. There might be doubles available still, but there wasn't the day, at least the last time I looked. But it's a really nice event for us, not too far away. I'm just going by order of date here. These are going to be across Canada. Let me double check that. Do I have all Canadian? I wanted to. No, I apologize. I didn't. I have bringing up all provinces now. I had Ontario there. I didn't intend to do that. Let me do a quick one. I'll do an update here. Parksville, BC. No, that's an old one. This weekend, the Dash and Smash in Delta, BC, May 31st to the 2nd. Calgary Pickleball Center is having their Summer Slam June 1st and 2nd. Kamloops, BC, June 7th through 9th. June 7th through 9th. That's part of Pickleball Canada. It's called the Kamloops Open. Saskatchewan is having their provincial tournament June 7th through 9th. PB Sport Open. I don't know what PB Sport is off the top of my head. That's June 7th through 9th, and that's in Laval, Quebec.
Nice.
Victoria. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot all over here. Victoria, BC, the 7th through 9th. Parksville, BC. A lot of these clubs were in the Canada's Best Pickleball Club thing last year. Parksville, BC, June 8th.
So, Pat, we're just over an hour here. Let's wrap it up here. And what's the best site there for people to find out their local tournaments? What site are you using?
Point. Yeah, there's two others I do want to mention. St. Albert, Alberta, is on June 15th. Medicine Hat, Alberta. It's a smaller one on June 15th as well. And final one, Pickleball Atlantic in Moncton, New Brunswick.
Ooh.
June 14th through 16th. So that's pickleballbrackets.com is where you would look. And then when you go there, just click on tournaments. If you're going to go in a tournament, you pretty much have to register on this site anyway. And click on the tournaments, and then there's just a little search. Put in Canada, and then you can select your province.
Oh, perfect.
But you can see this. There's like 60 tournaments listed in the next 2 months.
Wow.
And I would say probably, there's lots of, as you know, Mark, there's lots of local club tournaments that wouldn't be here.
Yes.
You're putting your stuff here because you want players from other teams or other clubs to register. I could see some other pickleball, the bigger clubs that were part of the Canada's Best Pickleball here. Spruce Grove, Alberta, Parkland Pickle Heads. Anyway, so go to pickleballbrackets.com to register for tournaments. I think that would be it. Let me just double check. Is that everything on our agenda today, Mark?
I believe so. I believe we've made it right through.
That's great. I want to mention for you, Mark, as I said, he's a level 2 instructor. He works at Court in Kitchener. Court is at the south end of Kitchener, but in the whole Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge area. And if you want to get in touch with Mark, I'll mention it just because he won't. You could just email Mark at court.ca, ORTE.ca, and Mark with a K.
Yeah, perfect.
I want to thank everybody. We're going to have a couple of contests to give away some of these paddles I've got here. I'm starting to get overrun with paddles, so we're going to launch a contest next week. I want to thank you. And what I forgot to say, please, you're watching our podcast, give us a like and a follow. You'll get notification. If you can leave a nice comment, we appreciate it. It all just helps us get better visibility. There's a lot of pickleball podcasts out there. There's a few Canadian ones, but there's also a lot of American ones. So it's hard to get noticed. And so if you can give us a like and follow wherever you're watching or a comment, that would be much appreciated. We hope you like the way we're doing this. We're not trying to only talk pro pickleball. There are, 5 sites in the US that after every PPA, they all rehash, each event. And I'm thinking, what's the point? That's not what we're trying to do here.
Well, focus on some Canadian pickleball and what's going on and that sort of stuff as well. And give some people some options of some products and stuff that we see as well that might interest them. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, thanks everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Mark, thank you for joining me. We'll see you next week. And let's cue the music here. Take care, everybody.
See you.
And I have to end this, Mark, 1 second, and I'm going to have to edit now because of that. There.
You've been listening to Pickleball Today, the podcast version of Pickleball Today, Canada's national pickleball news source. Pickleball, obviously, is our passion. And no matter what it is, if it's happening in pickleball in Canada, we're your premier source to bring it all to you. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. Find our website at pickleballtoday.co, on Facebook at PCKL Ball Today, on Instagram at pickleball_today, on YouTube at Pickleball Today Canada, and on Twitter at Pickleball Today. See you next time.